Hi, welcome to this part of my review featuring Beyond Darkness and Madness. If you haven't seen the other parts of my review, featuring this Game Master's Guide for Kult Divinity Lost, please check out the playlist in the description below. This time we are going to continue with the Theater of the Fearful Mind section, starting with the Spiral of Horror. This is a method where the Game Master takes themes and story elements that have been established and incorporates them to generate momentum in the very fabric of horror. The method in itself is simple. There are 3 levels where the horror in any story may take place: world, surrounding, and internal. The world represents events within the global setting, ranging from the player character's country to worldwide. Surrounding represents events within the player character's proximity, including friends, family, and neighbors, as well as their local area. Internal represents events within the player characters themselves, such as emotions, memories, and thoughts. When combined, these 3 narrative levels represent the layers of horror, reflecting how the concepts affect the player characters and the overall setting. The Spiral of Horror connects these 3 layers in a single, unbroken line. This is further refined by the player character's disadvantages, dark secrets, and enemies. The Spiral of Horror may move from inside to the outside, such as when the player character's mental and spiritual horrors spill out and distort the world around them. Now we have a section called the Conversation, which I find not very useful, because role-playing games are not conversations. Please check out a link in the description telling you how to actually roleplay a Powered by the Apocalypse RPG, and my beginner's guide to roleplay. But here you have an organization of questions of importance, agendas, principles, fiction, and how they mesh with the rules. When it comes to agendas, no structure works without strong foundations. The agendas have a lot to do with the external illusion, that is, what separates the player characters from the physical reality and defines how they experience the world around them. For example, due to reality's surreal nature, the Game Master need not be constrained by normal logic or spatial physics, allowing the Game Master to present entirely unique experiences, even in mundane locations. For instance, dust motes swirl in the sunlight streaming through the cracks in the wall. Yet, night fell hours ago. The sun long set. Thick purple vines spread over the wallpaper and plaster, trying to widen the hole from the other side. We also have details on the internal illusion. The internal illusion is far more personal and subtle. The player characters were once part of the true reality, divine entities with inglorious pasts and horrific appetites. As reality is revealed, the player characters must face the darkest truth. The most terrifying monsters are who they once were. For instance, as you approach the broken tombstone, your guts tighten and churn. You remember its shape. The angelic figure wears your face, your old face, the face the Hollow One stole from you. Pain, raw and wet, washes over you, feeling the meat and muscle pulling away. Handling such horrific elements, you can keep the player characters on edge, only allowing them moments of temporary respite. You can also let the player character's actions make an impact, of course, regardless of the consequences. This creates situations such as, after being pursued by hooded figures, the player character hides away in his apartment. As the night stretches towards dawn, he can hear an incessant knocking at an interior door. Perhaps the agent breaks up an altercation and accidentally kills one of the perpetrators. Unfortunately, the gang member's sibling comes looking for revenge, turning the player character's life upside down. You can also reframe agendas as needed, according to the character growth, to the development of the story. And this concludes this part of the review. In the next part, we are going to continue with these elements of the horror spiral. Everything is very well explained, although I have noticed even more typos. But they won't present a major obstacle, the content is still pretty clear, I think all of this information is essential. However, the bits and parts about a role-playing game being a conversation are quite erroneous. Please check out my beginner's guide to roleplay in the description, as well as my tips on how to actually roleplay a Powered by the Apocalypse RPG. You are not having a conversation. You are playing a tabletop role-playing game. It is very different. Thank you for watching this part of the review, and thank you for your likes and your comments. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know. And thank you so much to those of you that are going the extra mile to support the channel. If anyone else wishes to further support the channel, the information on how to do that will be in the description below. And remember, it is better to roleplay and fail in character than not to roleplay and fail as a player. Once again, thank you, and see you later.